I got it for 3 reasons. Right time, right place, and right
Is
God.
that fake chest hair?
Yes, it is fake chest hair. I did it so you could see the Star of David a little better.
That's really funny.
This is where the troops go in the back right there.
So think about if you're a fight fan, you will greatly appreciate this. Whenever you see a fighter come into a fight on short notice, it's always very interesting because you think logically that they're not going to win because like they've had no time to train and now all of a sudden they just have to do a weight cut. But usually it turns out to be a very good fight and they don't have the paralysis by analysis and they usually end up doing pretty well here. And I have to say that this is one of those episodes for me especially. I've had on, like you guys have known this, I've had on some, especially if you're in the 2-8 community, pretty big 2-8 guest. I'm starting to get out there. We're starting to get some names to come in. I had no idea that this man followed me for however long it was. He was just sitting in my follower stuff, liking random clips every now and then. I see that, okay, he works for Vet TV. He's a filmmaker. And it just so happens to be very conveniently that he was a Silver Star recipient. Can you believe that? So I'm only going to say this because it's going to sound great as a clip. But can you imagine if that Silver Star becomes a Navy Cross or if it becomes a Medal of Honor? Because I swear to Christ, in 20 years from now, Ethan, if that award gets bumped up, I want that sentence that I just said to be clipped onto your ceremony. And I want all the views that come from that. I want the world to know that I knew you before you were a household name, even though you kind of already are famous. But with that said, everybody please welcome, make yourself feel at home, Mr. Ethan Nagel. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Cody. I appreciate that. That was a hell of an intro. I appreciate that. And I'll clip that.
Oh, perfect. Yes,
dude, it's so funny you bring that up too. Cause like when that ceremony took place, and I'm very honored to even be nominated. There's a kind of a funny story behind that. I'll tell it really quick. All that happens, right? The battle takes place. The SF guys get their medals. And my team leader tells my dad, this is probably 8-9 months later. I'm definitely out of the Marine Corps. Yeah. And I had got my Purple Heart, all this stuff. And I was like, well, I heard I was going to be put in for something. And then my team leader told my dad, and then my dad told me like my team leader was trying to like save it for like it's a surprise, but whatever. Yeah. So then later on that summer, Dakota Meyer, who received the Medal of Honor, Dakota was my boot in my sniper platoon. Dakota relieved my sister team's rotation. So he relieved my rotation in Afghanistan to a different sister team as a combat advisor. He calls me up and goes, hey, my Medal of Honor and your Silver Star are right next to each other, side by side, going up the chain of command right now. And I was like, holy shit. And then I talked to him and I said, what happened out there? And then he, it was very fresh. This was 2010. Both of our battles were in July. And I believe his was October, end of September. No, I think his was September of 2009. My battle was July of 2009. And sounds, and we kind of catch up because obviously it was a pretty devastating thing. Like it was all over the news, all this stuff. So fast forward, he gets the Medal of Honor 2011. I am just like, all right, well, fuck it. Like someone up the chain of command's like, fuck this Marine, doesn't deserve it. Very common, infantry, whatever. Yeah. So like, okay, whatever. It was an honor to be nominated, whatever. So about a year later, my dad is like, hey man, what happened to that Silver Star? And I was like, I don't know, it probably got denied. Like, is what it is. And my dad's like, no, fuck that. So my dad, he knows my social and everything. And he's like, hey, give me your social. I'm going to go talk to a congressman. I was like, whatever. I was like, it's probably denied. So he goes to a congressman in 2013 and writes a letter. Is like, my son was nominated for this. We just want to know basically what happened to it. Was it denied? Whatever, etc. Yeah. Comes back within like a few days. They had lost it. Are you serious? They just stopped at somebody's desk and they just stopped processing. So
I don't want to cut you off, Ethan, but I was just going to say, wouldn't it be insane, like when you turn in your SIF paperwork and like IPAC loses it, or like you're trying to go to an advanced school or like get PCS, they actually lost like APRIS to promote that to the MOH?
Yep. So they mean for Silver Star, not yeah.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
yeah. So because Meyer was getting the Medal of Honor, I was getting the Silver Star, but because it was the combat advisor teams, the ETTs, they were together. Our packets were together going up the chain. Okay. Mine just got left on somebody's desk somewhere, so it just stopped. And so they called up they eventually called me, and they're like, hey, send an email out, and they're like, sorry, we lost it. It's getting approved. You're receiving the Silver Star. Please don't tell people. The Department of Navy would be embarrassed, basically, that we lost your silver. So if my dad would have never checked, it would have never, not that it wasn't approved, it just would have never made it through the proper channels sufficiently to then be awarded. It would have just been sitting there forever. And so basically they not scrambled really, but then they started being like, all right, I started getting contact by the Marine Corps. They have to be presented by a general. There's a massive ceremony and Snelling, all this other stuff. But yeah, man, you talk about again, it's been an honor to be nominated, to even receive it.
Yeah.
And then we're there. And then my buddy comes up to me and he goes, yeah, I was talking with that general. And the general came up to him after reading the whole citation, after being awarded. The general that awarded me the Silver Star went up to my buddy, who was one of my teammates, and he's like, why is this not a Navy Cross? And my buddy's like, I don't know, and so as you mentioned, upgrade, right? And then I talked to the other people, and I've had other very higher up people go, why is this not a Medal of Honor? And then I have Dakota Meyer in 2020. God, I just got married. I'd gotten my big wedding. It was 2019. Another funny story of surrounding this whole saga. I got awarded, so I've had it for, I was awarded in 2013, December 2013. The battle was July of 2009, was awarded in December of 2013. And Meyer, I started getting like hit up on like text messages, and like I was like, what the fuck's going on? Like I had just gotten married that like I had a big wedding that weekend, and that Monday I start getting blown up, and I'm like, what's going on? Like I didn't post pictures about the wedding yet, and so I'm getting all these messages, and one guy goes, hey bro, congrats. And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, dude, are you receiving the Medal of Honor? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, and he goes, dude, Meyer's on Facebook, right? So I went over and I opened up my Facebook, and Meyer had read my citation, and he posted on Facebook and whatever else. I don't know if it was Twitter at the time. It probably obviously would have been. I don't know if he posted on that, but he wrote, if Ethan Nagel does not receive the Medal of Honor, then I don't deserve my Medal of Honor. And then like threw it out to the world. Yeah. And so everyone's texting me like, are you getting the Medal of Honor? Blah, 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 and I was like, no. I was like, I texted Meyer because I had his number still at the time. And I was like, hey man, I appreciate it. It's like, I appreciate the shout out. I appreciate, but thanks, and everything. And he's like, dude, I never read your citation until last week. And I was like, well, thanks, man. Like it's we're very, and I told him, I was like, hey man, we're proud of you. I had seen him prior to that, but it's like, hey man, let you know, we're always proud of you. You represent the infantry, us O3s, especially in Afghanistan and what you did on your Medal of Honor run. And so we just talked and caught up a little bit, but yeah, that's always bring that up, because it's a funny, every time I always tell that story, because it's always funny, because it's, people are always like, are you gonna get that upgraded? I'm like, no man, like,
Ethan, could you imagine if you get a phone call after this conversation reaches there, you get a phone call and it's like, yeah, who is this? Hey, Ethan, this is the Department of the Navy. Listen, you remember how we lost your paperwork with the Silver Star? It's like, look, can you keep a really good secret this time?
Yeah. So we're big fans of 4 Years a Slave, a pod. And we have that episode.
Please like and subscribe, leave a comment. We need followers. We need money. Please support the show.
Exactly. He's like, I'm one of the followers and I was listening. No, but yeah, so those are all kind of this funny little, side adventures of the award itself. So anyways, but yeah.
But that is what we're here for, though. I mean, that is the, obviously the military, similar to how officers, they harp on professionalism, they harp on discipline. There will always be things that come first: the mission, our physical fitness, taking care of your juniors. They always come first. But we can't ignore the human reality of, the funny times, the debauchery, the Lance Corporal-esque activities that occur.
That's exactly. So, yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. That's a good start. That was a good firing it up right away.
Oh, the honor is all mine. I told you. I don't know if I said this in the intro, but I was doing my because I've been getting more involved in running this morning. I did 6 miles earlier this morning, and as I'm doing it, I figured I'll do some. Because that's going to take probably like an hour, maybe a little less. So I popped in a couple of your episodes so I could catch up, because I want people to know this. I messaged. So this is what happened. I saw Ethan's profile on Instagram. Keep in mind, I did not know really who he was. I saw he had a large following. He worked for Vet TV. He was a filmmaker. So I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Background.